Hey there, good morning everybody. So I am running late this morning because my alarm did not go off. So this turned into 6:30 conscious coffee. So happy conscious coffee to you and running late. So I'm going to let a couple people pop on and I'm going to take a couple sips of my coffee here. It's going to be a pretty quick conscious coffee too because it's like 30 degrees outside and I gotta run my kids to school here in just a second. So but I thought I would take this opportunity since my alarm did not go off for some reason and running a few minutes, running a little bit late and everything. As I was pouring my coffee, which is normally when the message of the day kind of comes in and stuff. What are we going to be talking about today? Well, number one, happy Thursday, I guess, to everybody. And I was like, I had a choice right there in that moment of pouring my coffee. I had a choice because I felt all this frustration rise up inside of me that my alarm didn't go off. I felt frustration when, I laid there. I'm like, why isn't my alarm going off? My alarm didn't go off, and I'm like, I'm doing my gratitudes, and as soon as I got done doing my gratitudes, I looked over at the phone, and I'm like, why is my alarm not going off? And I noticed what time it was. It says 6:24. 6:24. I'm like, shit, 6:24. And I felt this anxiety rise up in my body, and I felt frustration, and I like, damn it, I'm late. I was supposed to be up, 45 minutes ago, all this different stuff. I ran into the bathroom and threw some clothes on in the closet and everything. And I just was like embracing this like anxiety, this tension. So I went from gratitude to anxiety and tension to walking down the stairs. And as I hit the bottom stairs, I was like, it is what it is, right? I can't change it. So my alarm didn't go off. Oh well, my alarm didn't go off. And I was like, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is perfect. So, hence the name of this morning's topic. Everything is perfect. And the thing to remember there is that in every single moment, and when we're talking about creation and moving forward in life and positive attitudes, I talk a lot about how to create and all about the emotional state. I think this morning is a perfect example of how I had a choice to make, and a lot of people, and the old me of 10, 15 years ago would have allowed that moment of waking up 45 minutes late to completely wreck this moment and the rest of the day, because I would have just beaten myself up over the fact that I had woke up late and my alarm didn't go off. I would have taken, and it probably is my fault. Maybe yesterday in the midst of using my phone and different stuff, who knows, could have messed up my clock somehow, pushed something accidentally. But I would have really, really been critical and uptight about the mess up, the supposed mess up. And when we do that, what we're doing is we're causing so much restriction inside of our body that there is no room to receive blessing. There is no room to create the ideal emotional state so that we can create, a life of well-being, let's call it, that we all want in whatever fashion, whatever that might look like to each and every one of us. So it's really, really important to realize that, there is a reason behind every single thing. There's a reason why I got up a little bit late. I don't know what it is yet. I mean, I've been up not very long, so I have no clue. I mean, have not even had time really to analyze it. And I'm not going to analyze it. It's just going to be. And every single thing, every single moment is perfect, whether it is perceived to us as a positive moment or as a negative moment, it does not matter. It just is. So to really just get in tune to the flow that is happening, and remember that there is this contrast that happens that allows us to really get familiar with what we do want and what we don't want. And then we have to lean into what we do want. Where are we saying yes? Because if we say yes to things, the more we say yes to something, guess what? We get a lot more of that if we have that emotional connection to that yes. But if we say no to things and we think that we're pushing them away, that doesn't happen. We don't live in a universe that we push things away. We live in a universe that we're always drawing things towards us. We are all magnets, and we are pulling things towards us. So whether we are saying yes or we are saying no, we are drawing it in. And that's really what you have to realize is that it is where your attention is going, and with that emotional connection there. So, like this morning, I could, if I allowed that moment to last much longer than what it did, because it literally maybe made it a minute and a half in my physical existence of frustration there. If I had allowed it to hang out, though, it would have built on itself, and that would have just gone to something else bigger than my clock not going off in time, right? So I could have easily come down the stairs and something else happened, and I could have found myself just that compounding frustration level, and that frustration would have probably taken me down to another level of like anger or overwhelm or something like that, and I could have just declined, all because my clock went off in the morning. But instead, I made a very quick choice to just let it go, chill out, not allow that contrast of what could be a negative moment come in and attach to it. Instead, I went, okay, it is what it is. Hey, I'm grateful there's hot, fresh coffee in the coffee pot. I'm going to go get my cup of coffee, and I'm going to go, and I still have time. To get a 15-minute, conscious coffee out. So that's what it's going to be. I'm going to do a 15-minute conscious coffee, and everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's all good. That right there is the comeback that you need to have with no matter what the contrasting situation might be, okay? No matter what that is. You just rear-ended somebody. You just got rear-ended. You feel that anxiety inside of you, that holding, that restriction. What do you do with it? You just get, you just find out that you just lost your job, or you got passed by for that promotion. What do you do with that? Your husband, wife of the last 10, 15 years asked you for a divorce. What do you do with that? That's a contrast. You just find out that you have some sort of disease. What do you do with that? Last night, on my way home, I picked up my 15-year-old daughter from her friend's house, and her friend's sister just got picked up by the cops that that day, I guess, and got picked up by the cops for being with her boyfriend, and drugs were involved and all this different stuff, and there was all this anxiety in my daughter's friend's house, and frustration and anger and all this different stuff, and with good reason, right? Child's in jail and drugs involved and all this different stuff. But here's the thing, that it can, and I've been in a similar situation with some of my older children, having 7 kids, you go through quite a few different things. It's not like, at this point, I'm like, there's not a whole lot that can be thrown at me that's going to catch me off guard in child raising stuff. But it really does come to the level of how are you feel all this initial impact of emotion on anything, such as that, as an example, you know, but we could take the car, we could take the relationship, we can take health, whatever it is. You have this initial impact of emotion, and it hits you like a freight train in those moments, right? It's really, really intense. It's strong. It causes your body to constrict. You feel like you can't breathe. You feel angry. You overwhelmed. You don't know what to do with yourself. It's really just kind of like a land of shock, okay? And then after you feel all of that, where your true choice comes in is to pause in that and look at it and go, how do I want to choose to react to this? How do I want, and that reaction is not necessarily, I'm not talking about how you're reacting to the other people or situation involved. I'm talking about how you're choosing to react internally. And we're not burying the emotions, we're leaning into the emotion and we're increasing the emotion. So if you're feeling really, really scared, really, really angry, depressed, it's, you know, like yesterday I talked about that emotional chart, and I believe Addison posted underneath yesterday's picture, but you're always wanting to move your emotion up just a notch. How do you relieve the feeling that you're having? What kind of thoughts are going to relieve that? You know, and sometimes I point this out because we have a tough time, even though we do a lot of blaming, nobody ultimately everybody understands that blame is not a good thing. We don't want to point the fingers outward. We do understand that. But what we do is we do a hell of a lot of blaming as people. And whether we realize it or not, we're constantly, good morning, Stevie. We're constantly blaming and pointing fingers outward. But if you are in the land of depression, sometimes moving up and actually just pointing fingers outward and blaming people will help increase your vibration, will change your emotion just enough to bring you up another notch. It brings you, you know, you go from blame, then you might start getting really pissed off and angry, and then from anger you can move into overwhelm and frustration, and you just start moving up, and before you know it, you've reached kind of like the land of hope, the land of peace, and then you can go up from there to joy. Now, because you cannot go from depression to joy, okay, that's too high of a jump. You just can't do it. Not unless you can fake it. You can fake it. You can bury your depression. You can bury that negativity, that sadness. You can ignore it and you can shove it over there and lock it up in the closet. But you cannot, you really, really cannot move legitimately from a place of overwhelm, of depression up to legitimate joy. And you can't lie to the universe, right? The universe knows you at a cellular level. You cannot lie to the universe. You cannot lie to God. It does not work. We can lie to ourselves, lie to the people in our lives, not to God. But if you just look at how you can move up, so in the case of like my daughter's friend and everything, and I'm going to use her friend because her friend has panic attacks and is very, very anxiety ridden. And that is just that state of trying to control and feeling responsible for everything and getting into this, like, you know, she's not in a safe space, at least she doesn't feel like she's in a safe space to express, and, you know, that overwhelm. So all of that anxiety that she feels is at some point she's going to have to learn, hopefully, so that she learns that she can move that it was within her power to move it, because I think everybody's experiencing anxiety. Now, granted, there are plenty of people out there that have consistent anxiety attacks, and what those are is control-based. They are control-based, and that trying to control things, whether it is trying to control your emotions, trying to control a situation, And when you look at it like that, that this is that constriction, that anxiety that you're feeling, oh, like that. And then your heart, it starts to, you know, beat a lot faster, and then you can't really get air into your lungs. And then all of a sudden, that magnetism of the negative thoughts that started to cause that, they just start growing, and you get this nasty snowball of negativity and freak out happening, which causes the anxiety, the panic attack to just escalate and go with it. So in those moments, what do you do with it? What do you do with it, right? And saying just let go is a hell of a lot easier than what it really is. What it is it's time practice, and you've got to really work on practicing other things and not letting yourself beat yourself up over the panic attack, over that anxiety, over that depression, over that anger, over whatever that denser charged emotion is, and just allow yourself to slowly go, okay, that happened. I tried to do this, I tried to do that. It's okay. It's okay. Give yourself permission to be human. Is meditation a different story here where we can jump emotions? Meditation allows you to, I don't know if I'm fully understanding the question, Madison. Meditation, in this case, you know, sometimes like in anxiety or great anger, I talk about hitting the pause button. Meditation is something that you're not going to be able to move into a state of meditation in when you are in the heart of some of these intense, dense emotions. There's no way in a state of complete and total rage that you're going to be able to go, okay, give me 15 minutes, I'm going to go and sit down and I'm going to meditate. No, because you're just going to have Kill Bill going off in your head for 15 minutes straight. It's not going to work. And you're actually going to probably build up. You want to do meditation consistently when you're not in those states, because they will help prevent those states from ever occurring. Does that make sense? And to jump emotions, that would be what I would refer to as the pause button. And I tell people all the time, I can move through something in, 2 to 20 minutes today, what used to take me, months and potentially even years. And I look back at certain things, like I had this deep, dark depression phase in my life 11, 12 years ago, when it was about 2-year time cycle that I think I was just buried in depression, and it was really, really nasty. And a lot of not good things happened in that 2 years. Where today I've had probably more traumatic events happen here and there, and I move through them at a lot quicker space. But it really is coming to that pause button. And that pause button for me is taking that, I'll say I need a timeout. And then I just go and I take myself on this timeout, whether it is sitting in my car, going to the bathroom and pausing. I actually prefer the bathroom because I'll sit down in the toilet room and I will just look in the mirror, and I will allow the chaos in my mind, that monkey brain, all of those negative thoughts to just go pop, 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 pop. And I let them just go ahead and just do their thing. But I put myself into the state of witness. So I'm watching them, so I detach from my thoughts, but I don't try to stop my thoughts. I go into a space of realizing that my thoughts are a separate entity from myself, and then I just watch the thoughts and let them move through. And then once you start watching your thoughts, you'll reach to a certain point where you'll realize how silly some of them are, or you'll start to see your pattern and, all this different stuff. And once that happens, there becomes just a little flicker of relief there. And that's all you're looking for, is you're just looking for the gateway of relief. And once that happens, however it does, maybe it's, maybe it is that you just find some humor in, like, oh my gosh, I keep saying this to myself, or whatever. That's that door opening, and you can take that and go, Okay, yes. So I'm having all these negative thoughts. So I'm doing this, and maybe that's true, and maybe it's not. You know, doubt is a nasty thing in so many things when we're trying to create good things. But in the land of when you're in negative thought, you have to get doubt in there, because doubt is one of your saving graces. It'll help you to shift it. So once you apply a little bit of doubt there, then all of a sudden, hold on, let me give my kids a key. Hey Jules, go start the car. I'm warming up. 2 minutes. So once you apply that doubt there, then you actually have the opportunity to start to question the reality of your thoughts. And once you start to question the reality of your thoughts, you're going to discover that the majority of them are not true. They're not accurate. It is all a bunch of bullshit. And that is exactly what you're looking for. And that will allow you to increase that emotional, and do that jump in your emotions. I hope that answers that. So with that, I have her starting the car because it is really freaking cold out there, so she can go freeze and start the car for me and warm it up. But the point that I wanted to really make this morning on this is that, you know, the allowance of realizing that everything happens for a reason, that everything really truly is perfect, is what you have to kind of get to, because that will help soften the times of frustration. That'll help limit your times of frustration, overwhelm, pissed off, depression, all that different stuff. And even in really nasty situations that might come up from an emotional level, we're speaking here, even those nasty charges that come up that could linger for a long time. It's not that they're going to just be gone. They're going to rise up. You're going to deal with things, you know, as you're working through, as you're healing, you're going to work through things. But the acceptance of, this happened for a reason, and maybe I just can't see it from my vantage point right now. And that's what you have to get used to, is that we can't see things from where we're at because we're too close to the situation. But God, a higher self, universe, whatever you might call it, has the greater picture in hand. And looking at it from a little bit different perspective, if you can pull yourself away from your situation just for a split second, you'll realize that everything is a step towards what you're actually wanting. It's just realizing that where are you applying your focus, your energy, your attention. What are you magnetizing to you? Okay, so remember, we live in a yes universe. Okay, just think of it like that. Everything is a yes. No does not exist. No only is another yes. No says, you want this? Okay, here you go. So the universe isn't hearing no. God's not hearing no. Ask and it shall be given, okay? Ask and it shall be given is very simply saying whatever you're asking for. Well, that just means if you're applying attention to it, you're getting it, okay? You're getting it. So if you go, no, I don't want to lose my job. 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 I don't want to lose my job because I don't want to experience being broke. I don't want to lose my apartment. I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to. You get where I'm going with this? Do you notice how all those thoughts kind of run together, and all of a sudden you start thinking that, and what you're going to get from God in that moment is, oh, you don't want this? Okay, here you go. You don't have it. Let's change that for you. Let's change that for you. Here's your yes. And then you're like, why does this shit happen to me? Well, you did it. You did it. You asked for it. It's a yes universe. And realize that you make the choice as to what you're saying yes to. And everything happens for a reason. And sometimes those no's actually do lead you to the bigger yes thing. It may be uncomfortable, but every time when we are moving towards stuff, miracles, beautiful events, all that good stuff does not happen in our comfort zone. It does not happen in our comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone, which also means that you're going to experience some what appears like not so positive things. But is positive and negative even real? Ask yourself that. So, okay, there you guys go. I'm going to run my kids to school on this cold morning. Please take the time, if this a quick little conscious coffee here touched you at all, please take the moment to share it, like it. Feel free to make more comments. I do read all of them, and if you want, you can also message me privately and everything. And I will catch you guys tomorrow at 6 a.m. I'll make sure that my alarm clock is set. Okay, talk to you guys later. See you later. Bye.